Awesome Rider Review. Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here with my review of S.H.Figuarts Mashin Chaser from Kamen Rider Drive, my second Drive Figuart review. Let's just go ahead and jump right in with a very quick look at the box. We have this new tiny packaging here yet again. That probably sounded gross for some reason, but like I mentioned in my Drive review, it's just kind of interesting because of, you know, how excuse me, after so many years of, you know, having this regular size packaging, now we have this really small little individualized packaging. But anyway, it's pretty neat. You got his little symbol up here, and you got this sort of picture of him here with the color over him, his name there, side shot, the continuation of this image, and then on the back it shows you, you know, poses and stuff you can do with him. And then here is his bike. They sell in Figuarts form as well. I have been definitely contemplating getting my hands on that because I actually really like his bike, so I've been keeping an eye out for it. I just haven't been able to get it when it's in stock. But if I decide I want it, it comes in stock, I'll get it and then I'll have a review for it. But you can get that, and as you can see, it's a cool looking bike. So yeah, accessories wise, he actually doesn't come with a whole lot. I'll show this when I get over to him, but he's holding the brake gunner, which is his signature weapon. And then he's got just a small variety of hands. You've got the closed fists, which are on him when you get him. And then you get these sort of just open action fists that are on him, which he's got one right there, one right here. They're just kind of like clawy. And then you have two different holding hands. That sounds really funny. You got one like what he has on right now, which is for holding the gunner, so it's kind of like slightly more open. It's actually kind of funny that it's a bit confusing, and then this doesn't want to pop out. Come on. Okay, there we go. So like, these are the ones for the gunner. They're just like a little slightly more open. And then these down here, which I'm not going to bother pulling out because that was just really annoying. But these two right here are actually, I think, for riding the bike, because like I've actually used those first for holding the gunner because I just saw them. I'm like, oh look, they're open. That's what they're for. I had that voice too, and that just doesn't fit it right. Like he can't hold it all the way. I'm like, oh, these must be for the bike. So yeah, I'm assuming, unless he might even come with an extra set of hands in the bike. Sometimes they have that if the figure didn't come with proper ones. And then this first release here, I think it's the first release, I'm not sure how they'll handle it later, also comes with one of these neat little tire Kokon effect things. He has Midnight Shadow. It's the same style of packaging as Max Flare. You know, it's just kind of all one color. So that's really neat. Now, but I'm going to show you in 1 second, but just full disclosure, I'm going to be total honesty time, guys. I hope I can share this with you. I think we've built enough trust. I'm going to show you the tire, but I'm not going to show it on Drive because I really don't want to get him out of his pose. I know that seems so dumb, but like before I did my Drive review, I got him in this awesome pose, and then I had to take him out to do the review, and I couldn't quite get it right, but I have it close, and I really like his awesome pose with the flame effects right now, and I don't want to disturb him unnecessarily. So just picture what it's like in your mind. Like everyone, right now, just close your eyes, picture what Drive would look like with Midnight Shadow's effects on. That's what he looks like. Okay. But here is the Midnight Shadow tire effect, which is really neat. It's got a really nice shine to the purple paint. It looks really good. It says Midnight Shadow on the side there. You get this tire base there. Obviously it comes out so you can put them on Drive. These little pieces are also detachable, so you could presumably put another tire on there. So that's really neat. Like I said, you can put it on Drive. And then you have the two little pieces here, which I want to be very careful not to disturb. Which are, there we go. This is the switch out part for the driver, so you get Midnight Shadow's little symbol there, and then the tiny little Midnight Shadow car. So yeah, like I said, I apologize about that, but yeah. But still, really neat that they have all those coming with these. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get to the main event. We spent like 4 minutes on accessories and visualizing. Okay, so Mashin Chaser here, I've always liked his design, which is why I picked up his Figuart. And the Figuart does a pretty good job of capturing his awesomeness, I think, at least in terms of looks. The purple paint for his armor looks really good, I think. It's got a really nice shine to it. It does a really good job of representing that. You got his symbol there, right there on his shoulder, as you can see. Got all this wiring and technical parts. He's a very monstrous looking guy. His head sculpt is also pretty damn good. The compound eye looks good. And then you got like the grate here, which is behind a compound eye. In the pictures, I'll show that in a second after we do like one more little pan. but like his his head and neck proportion look really weird, and thankfully the figure itself doesn't have that problem. I think just looking at it, you can see the proportions on him actually look pretty normal. Let me just zoom out here for a sec. Let's let him do his spin cycle. But let's see. Like right here, I don't know if you can really see it, but like his neck looks too skinny. Like it looks really funny on the promotional images. And thankfully he really doesn't suffer from that problem. Like, it seems a little bit better, especially depending on what angle you're putting him in. It seems like that's fixed more. I was worried about that, about how that looks. As you can see here, he does have the brake gunner. There's a viral core in it, or at least what should be. I mean a viral core slot in it. I think they might come with an extra effect set. I don't know. Yeah, there's the brake gunner. It looks fine. You got all the paint details you need. You got the shiny silver paint, or silver paint. This is silver, guys. Shiny purple paint, and the silver paint as well, and it looks good. Like I said, I think he's pretty solid looking figure. The compound eye looks good. All the proportions are pretty good. The armor looks good. Articulation wise, like all Figuarts, he's very well articulated. He pretty much shares the same family base mold of Drive. You have a 360 ball joint here, swiveling, double elbow joint, swiveling at the fist, and then you got a nice ball joint on his leg with a swiveling double knee joint. You got a nice joint here on his foot, and you got the little toe joint, which is very easy to move. And then you do have the waist and chest articulation. This really doesn't excuse me, it really doesn't hinder it that much, but you do have this unique tube here which like connects the top of his armor to like this long elongated thing. So I guess it could hinder it a little bit, but it actually, like, you think it would hinder it more, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and it really doesn't. But you got that range of motion, and then of course his head and neck articulation, and it can kind of interfere with these tubes a little bit, but honestly nothing going on there is really that major. The mold overall is pretty solid. It's difficult to explain. It's, like I said, it's very well articulated if you're not familiar with Figuarts. There's no loose joint problems or anything. Like, I don't feel like these are going to start wobbling or anything, but it also doesn't feel like the most solid mold. Like, there's Figuarts molds you just get and you feel how solid the joints are, and it just feels like this real good, like, hefty quality to it. And this just doesn't feel like that, but the joints aren't loose or anything by any means, which just kind of brings me to my verdict about it. He's a very, very solid figure, I would say. Very decent. I really don't have anything extremely terrible to say about this guy. As I mentioned in my Drive review, the Kamen Figuarts were very well done after a period of very spotty quality for the Figuarts for the current airing Rider series. And Kamen was a real huge bright spot, and I was hoping that would continue. And to some extent it did with Drive. Drive was a very decent figure, did a lot right, but it just didn't quite feel that same quality that the Kamen Figuarts got. It's a really hard thing to describe, honestly. It's like, back when you first got certain Figuarts, before they started declining in quality a little bit, you would just hold the figure and just have this moment of, man, this is a really nice figure. This was really worth the money. And you just didn't get that quite as often anymore, and you really got that with the Kamen figures. And I just don't feel that with the Drive figures. It's not to say that they're necessarily bad figures by any means. It's just this kind of undescribable feeling of, this is still a solid figure, but it just, I didn't take it out and mess around with it and think, man, this was really, really worth it. One other thing before I go on with my random tangent, this piece out here on the back also pops out, which will be for the effect part set for his like viral core effects. That he does not come with any of those, obviously. You couldn't tell already. But yeah, this guy, like I said, he's not a bad figure at all. That's why it's hard to say. If you're looking for a really good screen accurate representation of Machine Chaser, I can recommend it. I don't think you'll be that disappointed. It's very well articulated, as Figuarts are. It looks good on the shelf. There's no problems with the details. There's no proportion problems for me, no paint problems, no loose joint problems. So I can recommend it for that. Unfortunately, if the viral core effect weapons are really important to you, you're going to have to buy a premium Bandai set, but for the Figuart at least. But you could also go for the Tire Kokon figure. I prefer this guy figure-wise just because the Tire Kokon has this large backpack here for the weapon parts, which I kind of see why he has to have it, but it just still kind of bothers me. But if the viral core effects aren't that huge of a deal to you and you really don't care about spending money on an extra set, I can recommend this guy. for probably the best representation of Machine Chaser at this scale. Like I said, I have a really hard time describing just what it is that these guys don't feel on the same level as Gaim, but they're certainly not bad figures by any means. But anyway, that's about it for this very confusing wrap-up. Until next time, make sure you check out The Crazy Podcast at writersratingsrambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Awesome Rider, a Machine Chaser is back, signing out.